We're all wondering, is AI coming for my job? We have this picture in our minds of a robot just showing up one day and taking over our desk. But what if it's not like that at all? What if it's quieter, slower? Today, we're diving into this really interesting idea from Professor 신종우's AI Notes, the natural death of a job. Let's unpack what that really means for you and me. So what is this natural death of a job? Well, it's not some sudden, dramatic event. It's more of a gradual fade-out. Think of it like a slow-burning issue, where a job's key responsibilities and its very reason for existing just kind of shrink over time as technology gets better and better. It's not a big bang, it's a long, quiet fizzle. And that, of course, leads to a pretty personal question. Is your career showing any of these symptoms? To figure that out, we need to make a proper diagnosis, and that means we first have to understand how we even got to this point. Okay, so for a proper diagnosis, you have to understand the illness itself, right? In this case, that means looking at the evolution of AI. How it's grown and gotten so powerful is exactly why it's now competing with us in the workforce. You know, what's really wild is just how fast AI's power has escalated. For decades, you had rule-based AI, which was perfect for those simple, repetitive jobs, factory lines, basic data entry. Then the 2010s hit, and deep learning came on the scene. All of a sudden, AI could spot patterns in massive data sets, helping with stuff like financial modeling or even reading medical scans. But now, we're in the era of generative AI, and this is the real game changer. It doesn't just analyze data, it creates things. It writes articles, designs images, it even codes. It's stepping right into territory we thought was safe, stuff we thought was uniquely human. So with that incredible evolution in mind, how do you actually tell if a job is at risk of this natural death? Well, the source material breaks it down into 3 really clear warning signs. First, the human part of the job just starts to shrink. The core tasks get automated, leaving people to do the leftover bits, reviewing the AI's work or handling exceptions. Then, number 2, that productivity gap becomes a chasm. An AI can work 24/7, no breaks, no sick days. And finally, the third symptom, it just becomes cheaper. The long-term cost of running an AI system eventually drops below what it costs to pay a human salary with benefits. It's simple economics. And this comparison here really drives the point home. A person works an 8-hour shift, needs breaks, needs sleep, and learns at a human pace. The AI, it works around the clock, never gets tired, remembers everything instantly, and you can scale its workload up or down with a click. The source calls this productivity asymmetry. And let's be real, for a business, that is an incredibly powerful reason to automate. Okay, we've gone through the symptoms. So what's the prognosis? What's the future look like? Well, based on these trends, you can start to see a pretty clear split between the jobs that are most in danger and the ones that are surprisingly tough to replace. And that split becomes crystal clear when you look at a table like this. On one side, you've got your high-risk jobs. See the pattern? They're mostly about routine, about analyzing data, like data entry, basic content writing, or research. But on the other side, the resilient jobs, they're built on something else entirely. We're talking therapists, artists, high-level strategists. These jobs rely on skills that, for now, AI just can't touch. So here's the absolute key takeaway, the big difference maker, the line in the sand, is the need for uniquely human traits. Things like genuine empathy, really complex problem solving, and deep original creativity. An AI can process 1 million documents, sure, but it can't truly connect with a patient or come up with a bold new business strategy based on gut feeling and a deep understanding of people. That's still our domain. But look, this doesn't have to be a scary diagnosis. Not at all. In fact, there's a really clear prescription for how to handle this, a way to not just survive, but actually thrive. It breaks down into a pretty simple, actionable plan. All right, here's your survival strategy in 3 steps. First, you've got to embrace lifelong learning. AI is a learning machine, so we have to be too. Keep learning new skills, new tech. Second, double down on what makes you human. Focus on honing those skills AI can't copy: empathy, creativity, critical thought. And finally, stop seeing AI as a threat and start seeing it as a tool. Become an AI advocate. Learn how to work with it to make yourself way more productive and valuable. So, what's your most important competitive edge moving forward? It's right here. It's emotional intelligence, the ability to build real relationships and trust. It's creativity, coming up with ideas that no algorithm would ever dream of. It's critical thinking, being able to push back on what an AI tells you and ask, is this actually right? And it's complex strategy, seeing the big picture that AI, with its narrow focus, often misses. These aren't soft skills anymore. These are the new power skills. And this really gets to the core message of Professor 신종우's work. It's a huge shift in how we should think about all this. The goal is not to compete against AI, it's to learn how to work with it. The future isn't about being replaced. It's about you taking control, redefining your own role, and using this incredible new technology to build your own future. So we'll leave you with this final thought. AI isn't some monster at the gates. Think of it as the new colleague that just moved into the cubicle next to you. This colleague is brilliant at some things and, frankly, terrible at others. So the real question isn't if you'll work with it. You will. The question is, how? How are you going to choose to work together?